German Konjunktiv 2, Part 1. So in this video I will show you when you actually have to use Konjunktiv 2 even as a beginner learning German, and I will show you how you can create the Konjunktiv 2 version of every single verb, but I will also show you which second version is way more common. Hi, my name is Jan and I'm your German teacher here on EasyDeutsch, your YouTube channel for German grammar. Today's topic is Konjunktiv 2. And today I will show you the basics of Konjunktiv 2, like how it's created and when you actually have to use this on an A1, A2 level. If you also want to know everything about the use in the past tense and also for the use in unreal things, check out the B1 video here in the info cards. But now let's not wait any longer and switch into my ebook. With my ebook, I will explain you now everything you have to know. So let's switch. So we're here now in my ebook, German Grammar Explained Easily. Today's topic is Konjunktiv 2 and on the beginner level, so an A2 level, because Konjunktiv 2 is actually kind of a topic that can be used in more easy parts and also in the more complicated, more advanced parts of the language. So let's jump right there. And first of all, what is the Konjunktiv 2? In English, it's the subjunctive, that's the translation, but I will stick to Konjunktiv 2 just to not confuse you because there is no real subjunctive in English. So it's a special form of the verb. That's what you have to know. And with the Konjunktiv 2, we describe assumptions or unreal thing. So it's mainly used for something that you're imagining, something that's usually impossible to get or to achieve, and for your wishes. So let's have a look of in the use a little bit more specifically. But I just remember, probably you have a question right now. It's called Konjunktiv 2, so 2. There's probably one, right? Yes, there is. The one is actually for B2 or above levels because it's barely used despite its number one. Konjunktiv 2 is way more common, but if you want to check out Konjunktiv 1 as well, there is a video in the info cards for you. Just click there if you want to check out Konjunktiv 1. So now, when do we use Konjunktiv 2? First of all, and most important on a beginner level, for polite requests. So if you want to be polite, you have to use Konjunktiv 2. Ich hätte gern noch ein Bier. This is a polite request in a restaurant. It's the equivalent to I would like to have another beer. Also, würdest du bitte das Fenster zumachen? Mir ist kalt. So, would you please close the window? I'm cold. So this is a polite question or request if somebody can close the window, so somebody could do something for you. Don't worry how you create Konjunktiv 2 later in this video. I first want to give you when you actually have to use this because you will actually encounter it very, very often. Because the second use is recommendations and suggestions. So not only when you want to be polite, also if you want to give a recommendation or suggestion. Wir könnten heute Abend ins Kino gehen. So that's a suggestion for like, what are we going to do tonight? So we could go to the cinema tonight. Du solltest für deine Prüfung morgen lernen. So that's an advice, recommendation. You should learn or study for your exam tomorrow. And we use the Konjunktiv 2 for wishes and dreams. Ich hätte gern eine hübsche Freundin. So I would love to have a pretty girlfriend. That's a wish. Ich wünschte mir, ich wäre jetzt in der Karibik. So that's a dream. I wish I would be in the Caribbean. So this is all wishes, and that's, if we want to really express this, we need Konjunktiv 2. There's more use cases for Konjunktiv 2, but those are all a little bit more advanced. That's why I made a separate video for Konjunktiv 2 from a B1 level. This is A2 here. The B1 video you will find in the info cards in the upper right corner right now. But those are the use cases when you actually need it right now, when you probably need the English explanation here for everything. So let's have a look at how you actually create Konjunktiv 2. First of all, you need to put the verb in the preteritum. So that's the equivalent to the simple past tense. If you don't know how to do that, there's also a video linked in the info cards for you about the German preteritum tense. And if you've watched that video already, you know that preteritum is actually quite hard in German to create. It's a lot of exceptions and stuff, but don't worry, there is a second version of how to create that. But let's go through this one first. The second version is without preteritum, but this is the one that you need for a few verbs as well. After you put everything into the preteritum, you change pretty much every A, O, or U, if it's the second letter in the verb, to an E, Ö, or Ü. So you add the dots. And you put an extra E at the end of the first and third person singular if there isn't one already. So let's have a look at a few examples just to make it clear. So we have sein here, for example, ich bin. We put it into preteritum as ich war, and then we add dots and an I. Wäre, that's Konjunktiv 2. Haben, it's ich habe, so preteritum ich hatte. We add the dots, but we don't add an extra I because it's here already. And I will also show you now the most important verbs in this Konjunktiv 2 version, and those are actually the ones that you actually need in Konjunktiv 2. The rest will usually take the second version. So let's have a look at them here. Haben, we had already, it's hatte in preteritum, and then here we have the because we have to add dots. Everything else is just like preteritum. It would be wir hatten, so we add the dots, and here we add is. That's the regular preteritum endings, plus I here if there isn't one already. Here there is one already, and here there would be none because it's ich war, so we add the I. But everything else is just like preteritum with the endings, and we add the dots here. Pay attention, there is an I in parentheses here. That means you can actually put an I there, but it's not required here. Wärst is the same. You can use both. Usually, remember, you put an I there, but with sein, it's not necessarily required. With everything else, it is. So here, werden is wurde, so dots, and then the endings. And here, for modal verbs, the same. I only put the two modal verbs here, but all modal verbs use this version as well, but they're all regular, so there's no change. You just have to know the preteritum version of them, but you should know that already, right? Because modal verbs are used in preteritum. There's a video about when to use perfect and when to use preteritum as well. Check it out in the info cards. If you've paid attention here, no dots, because sollen is an exception. Sollen doesn't use dots. All the other verbs do. So this is the hard way of using Konjunktiv 2, but there is also an easier version of this, which is used for pretty much all the other verbs. So everything that's not haben, sein, werden, and modal verbs use this nice version with würden. So here we use würden, that's just the equivalent of the would in English. And this is how it's done. wie say, ich würde heute ins Kino gehen. So I would go to the cinema today. So just like in English, with the only difference that, like always in German, if there's two verbs in the sentence, the main one goes to the end, and the one that's used to actually create the mode or the tense sticks to the second position here, and that's the same. So we use the Konjunktiv 2 version of werden, you saw it here, in combination with the infinitive form of the main verb. We could express the same thing with the real Konjunktiv 2 version of the verb. Ich ginge heute ins Kino. Well, that's not really used in a normal language. If you use that again, you sound very snobby. So if you want to sound like that, that's how it's done. But normal people will use this version for everything that's not sein, haben, werden, or Konjunktiv, or modal verbs. Sorry, modal verbs. Position, I already told you, just a regular thing. Second position and the second verb at the end. If there is the regular Konjunktiv 2, it's all regular. Here you put the verb conjugated in Konjunktiv 2 in the second position. Same with questions, all regular. Isn't it great? So this is all you have to know on a A2 level. If you're already B1, I mentioned it already, check out my other video about the Konjunktiv 2. But if you have any further questions so far, please do not hesitate to write them in the comment section below. Also, if you like to support me, there are two different ways to do that. The first way is, of course, appreciation in form of a like or a share of the video with your friends. Thank you very much for this. You can, of course, also subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's also a great support. But if you want to support me even further and may like the ebook that you've just seen here in this video, you can actually purchase them. And buying my products is a great support for me so that I can continue to give out also the free stuff here, the free videos and everything. There are more than 10 ebooks now already. You can find them all in the video description below. If you have them already, thank you very much. If you want to buy them, thank you very much too. And then I will see you again in one of my other videos. And until then, viel Spaß und Erfolg beim Deutschlernen.